All right, moving on to your relationship and marriage lines. That area just above the flirt lines, just below the bottom ring of that Mercury or that little finger, are your relationships and your marriages. These horizontal lines sit between the top of the heart line and the bottom of the ring on that little finger. There's a timeline there, and you divide these up into 3 sections. Now, coming up from the bottom, that first section is your 20s and 30s, the middle section is your 40s and 50s, and that third section is 60 and above. You'll read those lines beginning from the back of the hand, which is the start of the relationship or the marriage, towards the palm, which is later on. The lighter lines will be relationship lines, and the darker ones, the more prominent lines, will stand out and have a great density and color to them, reflect your marriages. Now, as we take a look at those horizontal lines on the edge of that right hand, and you can see one very strong marriage line. Has a nice color to it, goes along nice and consistent. It's actually a really strong line. And then we don't see any other marriage lines beyond that, so just the one marriage line. Now, in order to, and it's a good marriage line too. Now, in order to find a timeline on that, we go over to the left hand and we look on that fate line for a little Y that sprouts off there. And you've got one right there, right around age 42, 43 years old. But it's a very strong marriage line. Looks to be a good, kind, loving marriage. Now, the children lines come down vertically from the bottom of that ring around the Mercury finger, and you count them from the inside of your palm to the outer edge. And these can be biological children, stepchildren, adopted, godchildren, or nieces and nephews. Any child that you build a strong bond with. And as we take a look at those vertical lines, and these come off that bottom ring of that Mercury finger on the edge of the right hand, that pinky finger, and you have 2 very strong children lines. And then there's a little gap, and those are a bunch of little grandchildren lines. We don't usually count those in your hands. Those are better counted in your children's hands. But you have 2 very strong child lines there. Very close bond. Now, whether or not they're biological, we can't say. They could be adopted, stepchildren, godchildren, any child that you build a strong bond with.